हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम टू माय अनदर वीडियो ऑफ स्नोफ्लेक। आज के वीडियो हम लोग स्नोफ्लेक के काफ़ी इंटरेस्टिंग टॉपिक के बारे में बात करने वाले हैं। आज हम लोग बात करने वाले हैं टाइम ट्रैवल टॉपिक के बारे में। कैसे आप स्नोफ्लेक में टाइम ट्रैवल का हेल्प करके आप पीछे वाले क्वेरी या पहले वाले टाइम फ्रेम पे जाके क्वेरी को देख सकते हैं, रिस्टोर कर सकते हैं, टेबल को रिस्टोर कर सकते हैं, डाटाबेस को रिस्टोर कर सकते हैं। सारे चीज़ को हम लोग प्रैक्टिकल देखेंगे और काफ़ी डीप समझेंगे और समझेंगे क्या सही तरीका है रिस्टोर करने का भी। अगर आप मेरे चैनल में नए हैं तो प्लीज़ चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करिए और इस वीडियो को और स्नोफ्लेक प्लेलिस्ट को उन लोगों तक ज़रूर शेयर करिए जिन लोगों को स्नोफ्लेक सीखना है और जिन लोगों को डाटा इंजिनियरिंग पाथ में मूव करना है। तो दिस इज़ माय स्नोफ्लेक यूआई और ये फ्री वर्जन है। आपको सीखना है कि स्नोफ्लेक वी वर्जन कैसे बनाते हैं तो आप मेरे पुराने वीडियो को चेक कर सकते हैं इन द सेम प्लेलिस्ट। और जैसे पहले हम लोग ने डिस्कस किया है कि वी हैव दिस डाटाबेस माई डी बी, वी हैव ए स्कीमा माई स्कीमा एंड इन दैट स्कीमा वी हैव ए टेबल कॉल्ड टेस्ट डाटा। सो वी ऑलरेडी हैव क्रिएटेड द स्टेज, जो आपने पुराने वीडियो में देखा होगा। जो लोग नए हैं तो मेरे पुराने वीडियो चेक कर लें। अब पहले एक सिनेरियो समझते हैं। बहुत सारे सिनेरियो में क्या होता है कि आपने कुछ ऐसी क्वेरी चलाई जो क्वेरी गलत है, जो लॉजिकली गलत है और आपको लगता है कि ये क्वेरी नहीं चलनी चाहिए। तो बाय मिस्टेक या किसी भी तरीके से वो क्वेरी चल गई है और गलत तरीके का अपडेट हो चुका है आपके डाटा में। तो आप चाहते हैं कि उस अपडेट को हटाना। बहुत सा बार अपडेट एक नॉर्मल अपडेट होता है, एक पर्टिकुलर स्टेटस को अपडेट कर दिया जाता है, एक कॉलम को अपडेट किया जाता है। लेकिन मान लीजिए आपके टेबल में मिलियंस ऑफ रिकॉर्ड है, अब आपने एक कॉलम का पूरा वैल्यू चेंज कर दिया। फॉर एग्जांपल उस पूरे कॉलम में यस नो स्टेटस था, लेकिन गलती से आपने एक क्वेरी फायर की और उस पूरे टेबल के उस पर्टिकुलर स्टेटस कॉलम में आपने सारे वैल्यू यस कर दिया या नो कर दिया। आपको अगर पुराने वाले वैल्यू को रिट्रीव करना है तो वहाँ पे टाइम ट्रेवल फीचर्स काफ़ी इंपॉर्टेंट है। आप क्वेरी के पीछे, बल्कि जब आपने क्वेरी चलाया था उसके पीछे जाके क्वेरी को या उस डाटा को रिस्टोर कर सकते हैं, उस डाटा को देख सकते हैं। इनफैक्ट चेक कर सकते हैं कि आपने किस लेवल का गलती की है, पहले क्या था और अभी क्या है। फिर वहाँ से आप डाटा को रिस्टोर भी कर सकते हैं। ये तो हुआ सीक्वल के हेल्प से। आप अगर कोई गलती की हो, मिस्टेक की हो, तो उसको आप रिट्रीव कर सकते हो। सेकेंड चीज़, आप अगर किसी ऑब्जेक्ट को ड्रॉप किए हो, कहने का मतलब कि आप कभी टेबल को ड्रॉप कर दिए हो गलती से, डाटाबेस ड्रॉप कर दिए हो, स्कीमा ड्रॉप कर दिए हो, तो वहाँ पे भी टाइम ट्रेवल यूज़फुल होता है। अनड्रॉप कमांड के हेल्प से आप टेबल, स्कीमा और डाटाबेस को रिस्टोर कर देते हो। हम लोग इस वीडियो में सिर्फ टाइम ट्रैवल को प्रैक्टिकली नहीं देखेंगे, हम लोग उसके अलावा भी यही समझेंगे कि इसमें कॉस्ट क्या ऑकर होता है और किस तरह के स्नोफ्लेक वर्जन में रिटेंशन पीरियड कितना रहता है। वो वीडियो के मिड में या लास्ट में वो चीज़ को देख लेंगे। लेकिन उसके पहले समझते हैं कि टाइम ट्रैवल कैसे काम करती है। तो जैसे मैंने बताया कि टाइम ट्रैवल किस सिनेरियो के लिए यूज़फुल है, अब कैसे काम करती है उसके लिए मैं एक एग्जांपल लेता हूँ। ये मेरा डाटाबेस में एक टेबल है, टेस्ट टीबी। Let check the data. So I have some data here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to truncate this table. So you can truncate this table by this command, truncate table. Table name means I have given the fully qualified name because I have not selected a database. So I will just run this. So I don't have any data here, we can see from this. And now I'll just copy the from the external stage, I'll copy it. So I have a data here, test.csv, in this my AWS UI, AWS machine, and then here I can do the copy command and just run it. So it will copy, I think around five records are there. So you can check the record, हम लोग इससे रिकॉर्ड देख लेंगे। तो मैंने अभी फर्स्ट कॉलम को, फर्स्ट रो को स्किप नहीं किया था। यू कैन पुट इट इन द अदर व्हाइल क्रिएटिंग द फाइल फॉर्मेट, यू कैन गिव द स्किप हेडर फर्स्ट कॉलम फर्स्ट रो, or while copy command also you can give that. We have already seen in the previous session. You can check my previous video in the same Snowflake playlist. So we have this many records, so I'll just understand it like this. We have 5 records. Now there are, if there is a problem, if something has happened wrongly in this table, so you can retrieve with the help of what we call time travel. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to update my address to the Bangalore address. So before this, I want to take the timestamp, the current timestamp. So there are 3 ways you can retrieve the data. We'll see it while doing the example. So for now, I'm just setting my timestamp, time zone to UTC, and I'm just going to take the current timestamp. So this is my current timestamp. So I'll just copy it. So in my current timestamp, I know what is the status of my table. That means we have correct record and we have 5 records. So when you do this select, so in this current timestamp, we have these many records, and this is the actual record we wanted. We don't want to alter this record. So by mistake, we have run this update command. We have updated this table, and in the address column, I'm going to set all the address to Bangalore. So I'll run this command, and now when you do the select star from this table, you will see that all the address has been changed to Bangalore. Now I want to look into the previous version, like when it was correct. So you realize that this was the wrong command. Now you want to go back to the previous command. So how you can do that? So not command, previous data. So how you can do that? You can do in a three ways. Either you can put the offset, or you can put the timestamp, or you can just directly give the query ID. So I'll just copy the query ID also when we have done the copy command at that time, or when we have done the select star from this database, or when we have done the update one. So before this update, so what I'm going to check is what is the query ID when I have run this update command. So I'll just go into query history, and you can see somewhere I have run this update command, update one. See update and this, and so I'll copy the query ID of this, copy this query ID. So I have got the query ID also. Now I have the timestamp, I have the query ID. Now with the offset, like what was the status of this table 1 minute before, that also you can look into with the help of offset. So minus 60 into 1.5, this means 1.5 minutes back from the current time. So 1.5 into 60 is the second. So I want to, if I want to see what was the status of the table before 1 minute, what was before 1 minute, so I just give 1 into 60, means 60 seconds. So let's run it. I think after doing the update command, we already have passed 1 minute. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to run this command. Okay, so we have not passed 1 minute. We'll wait for some time, and then we can see this offset getting reflected. So this is my current data in the test data. Okay, so now in the offset, what was the, like I was checking, like what was the status of the table before 3 minutes, because uh, between the update command of on this table and by this time it's been around 2-3 minutes. I'll run this command to see or to check that is this 3 minute enough to get the previous version of this of the data. So I'll run this, and you can see no, I'm still seeing the updated address. That means it's not within the 3 minutes time. So I'll increase the time frame. I'll write it here 5. So this will take 5 minutes. Just I will just run this command. You see, before 5 minutes my data was this. You can see by this, this is one of the feature of the time travel. So if I run before 1 minute, so before 1 minute also my data was the updated one, not this one. So you will see the updated one before 1 minute. So with the, like when you have run the query, so around that time, before the time, you can run this to get the previous version of your table. So if I write here 6, so it is 6 minutes. So I'm before 6 minutes you were having the previous what you call format of the data, the original format of the data. Now the second thing is with this timestamp. So current timestamp. So if I run the current timestamp here, so we'll have different value here. If you compare the time, it will be different. You can pause the video and compare it. So this was the timestamp when my query or when my data was in the correct order, what we were expecting. So what we'll do, we'll just copy this timestamp, and there is a query select star from this table before this timestamp. So what I will do, I'll just paste here the timestamp and then run this command. You can see I'm getting the previous version. So this is the second way. So first was the offset, second is the timestamp. Now we will go and check the query ID. So this was the query ID which has been updated, which has updated this. Now I'll copy the query ID, and I've already pasted the query for this query ID. Okay. Now I'll run this command. So we are getting the previous version of the table. So three ways we can see the previous version of the table or the original version of the table. The first is by offset, second is the timestamp, and third is by giving the query ID. The query ID, how you will get it? You can go to the query history from here, or you can directly write the SQL to get the query history. And then depending on the queries which was run, you can check and run it, right? So these three ways. Now you can create the table with the help of this query to restore the table of that particular format. So how you can do that? So we will create a table on the top of this data. So we'll run this query id again. So this was the query id of the previous, which you have already run. So we are getting the original format of the data, and what is the current format of the data? I will see it here. So current data is this address been updated by in the Bangalore, all the address. So what I'll restore my table. I'll restore my table to the previous version of the data. So I'll write create and replace table, and this is the same table name as we are getting the data from this command. Similarly, with this command also, you can write this command also, or you can write this command also. Any three ways which is giving you the correct output. So I'll just run this command. Okay, now created. Now I'll see if data has been copied or not. So I'll just run this select statement. So I got the original value of the data. In one of the scenario, this time travel will not work. I'll just tell you about the scenario. We'll do replicate that scenario. But this is a very good interview question. Like in which scenario your time travel of this query will not be acceptable, or it will not work as we are expecting it. So there's a scenario in which you are doing two wrong update. For example, this is my current data. So this is my current data. Now अभी मैं क्या करूँगा? We'll set the address to Bangalore. Okay. I'll just copy this query ID. Now this is my query ID when I have run this command and set the address to Bangalore. Now what I'm going to do? Now I'm going to update the name to Bangalore also. Now I just first run this command. See, all the address has been changed to Bangalore. Now I'm going to, but in this command, when you run this when you have executed this command, you were not knowing that this has been run. Maybe someone else has run this command, or by mistake with some program has done it. So you have not realized that this command has been what you executed. And meanwhile, the another update command has run, which changes all the name to Bangalore. So you're going to run this command. Now we'll copy the query ID here, and this is the query ID which has updated the name as Bangalore, right? Is the same 26. Okay. Now you go and check the data. So data has two wrong thing: address all Bangalore, name on Bangalore. So when you executed this command, you just caught this query that this query is wrong, but you're not aware of this address. So you're going to restore this part. Means you're going to restore the name to not to be Bangalore. But now still you are not aware that address has been changed to Bangalore. This is very important. You need to understand this scenario. So only the latest wrong update you are aware of, but you are not aware of all the updates. There can be multiple updates before this, which was wrongly done. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create and replace this table with this query ID when the name was Bangalore. So I'll run this query. I'll just copy this query ID. Okay. So before this, I want to see what will the select statement of this. Now you see name is correct, but address is not correct. So I execute this command. Now my table has been created. The table is test data. Now you go and do the select statement. You saw this name has been corrected. Now you realize that address has not been corrected. And when you dig down into this, now you realize that your address is not being correct. And when you went into the query history, then you understood that one more mistake has been done. So how to rectify this mistake? So you are going to again create the table with this query ID, which has done the address as a Bangalore. So I'll just copy this query ID. This is very important step. So I'll just copy this query ID and paste it here. Now you run this command, or first we'll see what output it gives. Select statement. It will not give you the output. The time travel data is not available for the table test data. The requested time is either beyond the allowed time travel or before the object creation time. Now this is very important and very important question and very important scenario. When there are multiple mistakes or multiple update has been done, And when you have corrected one of the mistake with the create command, that means you have created this object test data as a new object. So because you are creating it, you are deleting it and creating it in the behind the scene. With that, all the time travel information this test data was having in the metadata is now been destroyed. Everything has been deleted. So now test data has the current version as the memory. It do not have the memory of the previous data because we have created it. We have created the table again. So how to rectify this? How to do the what? So in this kind of scenario, how you need to deal, or what is the correct way you can restore the table? So the scenario which we have shown here, that scenario is very common in most of the wrongly update statement. But the way how I was going to create or restore the table is the wrong way. And here the multiple questions, interview questions may arise from this scenario. Now, how to do this? You need to create another table, and then in that new table, you have to pass this data, and then in the original table, you have to truncate and put it. I'll show you how to do it. So first of all, I will truncate this table. I'll just come to the original scenario, truncate this table, and then I'll do the copy command. Okay, we'll see the data here. Okay, so now the scenario will be like I'm going to update two things. I'm going to update this particular uh, table. So this is my update command. I'll copy this query ID. I'll put it here. Now I'll update the name as Bangalore, and I'll copy the query ID. Okay. Now, what we will do, we'll just take the name. Now we'll see what is the data. So everything should have been changed to Bangalore. Now we'll copy the query ID for this name as Bangalore, right? When we have changed the name as Bangalore, just copy it, paste the query ID here. Okay. So this time I'm going to change the table name. I'm going to change BKP. Run this command. Okay. Now what is the data into this? Okay. So the name has been corrected, the address is not corrected. Fine. So this is my backup thing. Okay. Now this truncate table need to be run. Means I have till now I have not dropped the test data. I'm going to. So now we are going to truncate the original table. So we'll truncate the original table, and you see in the select of this original table, you don't have any data. So what we'll do, we'll do the select insert into this particular test data from this backup. So we have executed this command. So we have inserted the record into test data from backup. So now you see the data into this will have name corrected. Now address is not corrected. Now we'll run the this particular query ID in which address was wrong. I'll copy this, and then in this query ID I'll put it here. Okay. Now I'll just run this one. So this is my original data. So because why I'm able to get the original data, because I have not dropped test data. I have just truncated it. So now you can create and replace with this one. Like you can either do with it a backup and then again copy it. Otherwise, this is the initial update wrongly update command. So you can directly run this command. Now again, see, I have created this test data. So if now in our case we had only two wrongly update statement. So before this also you had only another update statement. So then you cannot retrieve it because again we have created the test data now. Earlier we have just truncated it in this scenario, but now again we have created it. So now when you see the select statement, you will get the original data. So the learning here is whenever you have to restore the data. So if you have there is a wrong update, when you have to restore the data, in that case, don't drop the original table. Always copy the data from any of the time travel select query to some backup, query it into some backup, and then analyze the data, and then see what is the query history, what all the wrong updates has been done, and then you copy the data into original data. Never ever create the table as such. Our example, we have done it because we had only two update, but in original scenario, in the production scenario, never create or replace table to the original data, because the time travel has been enabled for this test data, and depending on the retention period, it will be capturing, or it will be storing multiple previous version of the data. So you will lose all the version of the data. So never ever create or replace table in the original data. Always do in the backup table, create a backup table, and then from the backup table copy to the original table. I think you would have got the purpose why I'm just running this scenario, and you have understood how the actual restore happens and what is the wrong way of doing the restore. That also you would have understood, and what is this time travel in the form of query. Now there is another form of time travel in which we drop the table, or we drop the schema, or we drop the database. So by mistake in the production scenario, or multiple people are working on the production support, they would have deleted it, not deleted, or dropped the database, drop the schema or tables. So that can be easily done in the Snowflake with the help of undrop. What I'm going to do, I'm going to drop table, and my table is this. No need to semicolon if you are going to just drag and just copy this one. So table has been dropped. Okay. Now when you go and do the select statement in this, you'll be not able to find the table. Fine. Now what I'm going to do, where is the command we have written? No, okay, here. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to undrop table, and I will copy this. Restored successfully. Now go and see this table. You got the data in the table. It's easy, it's very simple in the Snowflake. You can undrop the schema, undrop the database, undrop the table. So we have seen how to do with the query, how to run the undrop command. Now important thing, like there is a retention period. Like I told you, like there are update command, you can go to time travel, you can go back to the time and restore the data, but there must be some retention time for that. So by default the retention is 1. So this Snowflake account is a normal Snowflake account, standard Snowflake account. So in the standard Snowflake account, you will get the time travel of 1 day, retention period of 1 day. When you're going to enterprise level, or you're going to the company level, which you get the Snowflake account, so it has a maximum retention of 90 days. Why I'm saying maximum number here? Because that retention you have to mention in the table, because in the table by default retention is 1, and by default it is given 1, because if you increase the retention time, then the storage, the volume of the data in the table will be double, triple, depending on the data it stores, depending on the version changes it goes through it. So retention, when you increase the retention in a table, retention days in a table, it will give an overhead, the price will increase from the storage side. So but how to see what is the default value of the retention in the table? So to check the retention time of a particular table, what is the default value of the retention time, you need to run the command and check the default value. So by default it's 1, and you can change it. So how to check the retention time of a table? So with the command show table, you can see the retention time of the table. So just click on this, you will see the properties of a table in which database schema. So here you can go, and there are multiple other ways also you can look into the properties of a table. So you can go here and you can see that retention time is 1. That means 1 day. You can change the retention time with the set command like alter. So you need to write data retention time in days, and you are changing into 3 values, 3 days. And this is the table test data. We'll run this command. So exceed maximum allowable retention equal to 1 day. Why I'm getting this error? Because I'm using the standard version, and in standard version you cannot you can have maximum of 1 day of retention. But this way you can alter the table and change the retention time of a table. If I would have used the enterprise edition of the Snowflake, I would have gone till 90 days. Right. So this is how we change the retention time. And when you increase the retention time, as I've told you, the volume of the data, the more the volume of the data is there due to the version changes in the table, and that will increase the cost of your the Snowflake. I hope you understood the full topic. If you have any doubt, it's a bit tricky to work on the time travel. So if you have any doubt, any personal experience when while working with the Snowflake in this particular scenario, you can just post the doubt in the comment section. I'll try to answer it. And if you want to mail me with your doubt, you can directly mail me. I'll guide you through the solution through the problem statement. So we'll meet again with the new topic in the Snowflake. We'll continue with this Snowflake playlist, and I'm planning to bring the playlist of Databricks because Snowflake and Databricks both are becoming very important. Snowflake तो पहले से ही काफी important था industry में, but now Databricks is also coming into the market with very good importance, and the companies and the client is going to or they have deployed multiple Databricks into their system with the project to the Databricks. So we'll also start with the Databricks playlist, but we'll try to at least complete 90% of the Snowflake playlist first. So in any doubt, post the comment, and you can mail me directly, and please subscribe to my channel. Share it with your friends, with your relatives who want to try their hand in the data engineering field, who want to learn Snowflake, who want to learn anything about the data engineer, should come to my channel to land in my channel. I'm here to help you. I'm here to guide people to move to the data engineering field, be it of any experience, fresher, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. So with the help of this channel, I'm trying to educate people how the data engineering works, how the data engineer works, what are the topics in the data engineering. If you want to see the overview of what are the basic topic wise, based on the year of experience, you can look into my previous video out of this playlist. There are multiple other videos. You can look into it, and you will get the just like what actually is the data engineering working on, and but in the current scenario, what are the relevant tech which you should learn to become a very good data engineer. फिर मिलेंगे नई वीडियो के साथ, तब तक के लिए अपना ख्याल रखें, बी हैप्पी एंड कीप लर्निंग।